Hi guys, I am John Ernest Sidizor from Bachelor in English Education 2, and I'll be doing I Am a Filipino by Carlos P. Ramulo. I am a Filipino, inheritor of a glorious past, hostage to the uncertain future. As such, I must prove equal to the twofold task: the task of meeting my responsibility to the past and the task of performing my obligation to the future. I sprung from a hardy race, child of many generations, removed of ancient Malayan pioneers. Across the centuries, the memory comes rushing back to me, of brown-skinned men putting out to sea in ships that were as frail as their hearts were stout. Over the sea, I see them come, borne upon the billowing wave and the whistling wind, carried upon the swell of hope, hope in the free abundance of new land that was to be their home and their children's forever. This is the land they sought and found, every inch of shore that their eyes first set upon, every hill and mountain that beckoned to them with a green and purple invitation, every mile of rolling plain that their view encompassed, every river and lake that promised a plentiful living and a fruitfulness of commerce, is a hallowed spot to me. By the strength of their hearts and hands, by every right of law, human and divine, this land and all appurtenances thereof, the black and fertile soil, the seas and lakes and rivers teeming with fish, the forests with their inexhaustible wealth and wildlife and timber, the mountains with their bowels swollen with minerals, the whole of this rich and happy land has been for centuries without number, the land of my fathers. This land I received in trust from them, and in trust will pass it to my children, and so on until the world is no more. I am a Filipino. In my blood runs the immortal seed of heroes, seed that flowered down the centuries in deeds of courage and defiance. In my veins yet pulses the same hot blood that sent Lapu-Lapu to battle against the first invader of this land, that nerved Lakandula in the combat against the alien foe, that drove Diego Silang and Daguhoy into rebellion against the foreign oppressor. That seed is immortal, the self-same seed that flowered in the heart of Jose Rizal that morning in Bagong Bayan, when a volley of shots put an end to all that was mortal of him and made his spirit deathless forever. The same that flowered in the hearts of Bonifacio in Balintawak, of Gregorio del Pilar of Tirad Pass, of Antonio Luna at Kalumpit, that bloomed in flowers in frustration in the sad heart of Emilio Aguinaldo at Palanan, and yet burst forth royally again in the proud heart of Manuel Alquizan when he stood at last on the threshold of ancient Malacanang Palace in the symbolic act of possession and racial vindication. The seed I bear within me is an immortal seed. It is the mark of my manhood and the symbol of dignity as a human being. Like the seeds that were once buried in the tomb of Tutankhamun many thousand years ago, it shall grow and flower and bear fruit again. It is the insignia of my race, and my generation is but a stage of the unending search of my people for freedom and happiness. I am a Filipino, child of the marriage of the East and the West. The East, with its languor and mysticism, its passivity and endurance, was my mother, and my sire was the West that came thundering across the seas with a cross, sword, and the machine. I am of the East, an eager participant in its spirit, and in its struggles for liberation from the imperialist yoke. But I also know that the East must awake from its centuried sleep, shake off the lethargy that has bound his limbs, and start moving where destiny awaits. For I too am of the West, and the vigorous peoples of the West have destroyed forever the peace and quiet that once were ours. I can no longer live, a being apart from those whose world now trembles to the roar of bomb and cannon shot. I cannot say of a matter of universal life and death, of freedom and slavery for all mankind, that it concerns me not. For no man and no nation is an island, but a part of the main. There is no longer any east and west, only individuals and nations making momentous choices, which are the hinges upon which history resolves. At the vanguard of progress in this part of the world I stand, a forlorn figure in the eyes of some, but not one defeated and lost. For, through the thick, interlacing branches of habit and custom above me, I have seen the light of the sun, and I know that it is good. I have seen the light of justice, equality, and freedom. My heart has been lifted by the vision of democracy, and I shall not rest until my land and my people shall have been blessed by these, beyond the power of any man or nation to subvert or destroy. I am a Filipino, and this is my inheritance. What pledge shall I give that I may prove worthy of my inheritance? I shall give the pledge that has come ringing down the corridors of the centuries, and it shall be compounded of the joyous cries of my Malayan forebears when first they saw the contours of this land loom before their eyes, of the battle cries that have resounded in every field of combat from Mactan to Tirad Pass, of the voices of my people when they sing.
Land of the morning, child of the sun returning, with fervor burning, thee do our souls adore. Land dear and holy, cradle of noble heroes, ne'er shall invaders trample thy sacred shores. Ever within the skies and through the clouds and all the hills and seas, do we behold the ravens, feel the throb of glorious liberty. Thy banner dear to all our hearts, its sun and stars alike. Oh, never shall its shining flames redeem thy tyrant's might. Beautiful land of love, oh land of light, in thy embrace this rapture to lie. But it is glory ever when thou art grown, for as thy sons to suffer and die.
Out of the lush green of these 7,000 isles, out of the heartstrings of 16 million people, all vibrating to one song, I shall weave the mighty fabric of my pledge. Out of the songs of the farmers at sunrise when they go to labor in the fields, out of the sweat of the hard-beaten pioneers of Malig and Coronadal, out of the silent endurance of stevedores at the piers, and the ominous grumbling of peasants in Pampanga, out of the first cries of babies newly born, and the lullabies that mothers sing, out of the crashing of gears and whine of turbines in the factories, out of the crunch of plowshares upturning the earth, out of the limitless stations of teachers in the classrooms and doctors in the clinics, out of the tramp of soldiers marching, I shall make the pattern of my pledge. I am a Filipino born to freedom, and I shall not rest until freedom have been added unto my inheritance for myself, for my children, for my children's children, forever. Hi, I'm here again. Thank you and God bless.